Segment 3. You got to help me.
I do this.
3. You do this?
I do this. Because this feels weird. I do this.
I just... Segment 3.
3.
All right. Is the show going fast?
Oh, I looked at the clock and I was like, what is going on? I feel like we just said I'm having a blast.
Okay.
This is the best ever.
This is the best ever.
Best
I love it when women tell me, this is the best ever.
You're the best ever, Dan.
All right. Yeah. Well, maybe I used to be. But anyway, other than that, okay, we're going to get back into this story. And let me catch you up to date because this is a new segment and it will be released separately from segment 2. We talked about with Carrie that she was an adopted child and that she, like so many adopted children here in the United States, there is somewhat of a pathway to find your birth parents.
Absolutely.
In her case, in Mexico, she was left at a hotel and found there, taken to an orphanage, and there is absolutely no pathway to your birth parents.
No.
Now, I was thinking about you.
Oh.
From our last conversation before we came on air, that you're in your late 20s now.
I am.
I am presuming that your birth parents were probably pretty young.
I would think I actually
Probably
agree.
the case.
Yeah.
Okay. So it is extremely possible that your birth mother is still alive.
Oh, yeah.
In her late 40s, maybe early 50s.
Yeah.
And which is my age. And the same thing for your father. Mm-hmm. So knowing a little bit about, I don't know, Mexican culture.
Right.
They're big family people down there.
For sure.
Big time. Family is huge.
Yeah.
So I can imagine a unwed young girl in Mexico probably wasn't she probably wasn't the most popular gal in the family at the time.
Right.
We're speculating now. So, but the fact is your birth parents are probably still alive.
That's crazy when you think about it like that.
When you think about it. And so my question is to you. Sometimes you look up into the stars and the moon is full and you're just sitting there contemplating and thinking about the world and your life and how lucky you are to be part of this Sullivan family. Yeah. Do you ever just look up and think, God, where are you, Mom?
Not all the time, but a lot of times. It's an interesting, I think it's a very interesting thought process to have, and not unless you're adopted and you don't really have a trace back, because my little sister's adopted too, and we were there when she was born, but she was able to have a trace back because we were there when, and that whole thing. So her situation's a little bit different, but for me, it's kind of, I used to walk around when I was a kid, around grocery stores and like look at people and go, oh, maybe they're them. Oh, maybe. It's a big maybe game. And I think as humans, as people, we, at least for me, I don't care for what ifs in my life. I like to kind of have some knowledge as to what's going to happen. And so to have a big question mark constantly hanging over, of course you look up and you think, man, what if, even now, I think, what if this is the outlet that they watch and they go, oh, wait, and I wonder, do I look like my birth mother? Do I look like my birth father? Maybe they'll see and go, oh, there she is. And it's just all these questions when you really narrow it down and look at it. It's kind of fascinating when you think about it.
I have another question for you. Okay, you're growing up. Now, your mother's Cuban.
She is.
So, Cubans come in all different shades of color. I mean, there's white Cubans like me, and there's dark-complected Cubans.
Yeah.
Now, so, because in my mind, I'm thinking, we know your dad's is about as Irish as you can get.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
At what point in your growing up did you look around and like, something's different here? Since maybe your mother's dark complected, you think, oh, okay, it's just, this is the way I would have came out anyway.
No, because my mom, she's a little bit lighter. So I'm the darkest one in my immediate family out of my siblings.
So when did you kind of like, hey, it's kind of like Sesame Street. Something here just ain't like the others. Something here just don't belong, And when did that hit you? Like, hey, Mom, Dad, what's the story here?
Well, I was always made aware of it because I went to a private school out here. And so all the kids kind of pieced it together. But I always knew, ever since I was a kid and I could comprehend, I always had the understanding, like, you're not my birth mother, you're not my birth father, but this is still my family. So it didn't really, I never really looked and went, ooh, we don't look alike.
Right.
But, and oddly enough, my little sister and I, we look very similar, and my mom, my sister, and I have the birthmarks all in the same place, which is
Right.
super trippy. So it always just felt like it went together. The two people that my father does not look anything like us, so whenever we
Okay.
go out, it looks really, really strange.
Okay.
And then my stepsister and my stepbrother, my stepsister's gorgeous blonde,
Blondes.
blonde, like
Okay.
blonde. So it just, I think now though today, it was different when I was growing up
Right.
because it wasn't as prominent. Now today you have stuff like the show's Modern Family, and
Right.
there's really a difference in how a modern family is perceived and
Yes.
what that looks like. So it's more acceptable now
Oh, yes.
than it was then.
Right.
And I just never really looked and said, hey, what's up? Because I kind of always knew what was going on.
Okay, so it's just kind of something that, like you said, you didn't, okay, sit down.
There wasn't like a big
We got to tell you
big
something.
Oprah scene going on at our
All right.
house. So
No
yeah.
Jerry Springer
No
in
Jerry
this
Springer.
family.
No.
All right.
Yeah, it's as I said, it's very special, and it's something that I think anybody who is adopted we all have different
Mm-hmm.
stories and can definitely relate to. And at the end of the day, my family is phenomenal,
Right.
and I lucked out. I'm the luckiest girl in this world.
Oh,
So,
very, very
yeah.
cool.
And
Well,
I get to sit here with Danny too and talk about it on Thanksgiving.
golly. Boy, my hashtags are going to be like, quit feeding him all that good stuff. He's going to get spoiled.
Who's trying to butter who up here
I
is
don't
the
know.
question.
I don't know. So we got a couple minutes left. Let's talk about, you are a married lady.
I'm a married lady.
You are a married lady, and you've been married, you said 4 years? 3 years?
We're going on 3.
Going on 3
We're going
years.
on 3 years. Together, almost 8. We had a big discussion about this the other night because he said 7.5, and I was like, no, it's 8. And he's like, meh. So he's trying to.
There's no difference between 7.5 and 8.
How
okay?
long have you been married?
We just celebrated our 16th wedding anniversary,
That's
and
amazing.
of course we were together 2 years, and then we got married. So we've been
Okay.
together 18 years.
Now you got to give me some tips on what the secret is because that's a long time.
Well, I don't know if there is. I keep telling young kids, just remember, love ain't always a 10. Okay, there will
Oh.
be years where, maybe they're not always a 10, but at the same time, that doesn't mean things don't work. And I would say where I have fallen down, and my wife has fallen down, is, and of course you don't have children yet, but always keep dating.
Oh, I love that.
Because I will tell you, ladies, number one, don't never let your mother be cooler than you, number one, okay? And your husbands, for better or worse, they fell in love with their girlfriends,
I like that.
okay? They fell in love with their girlfriends and they married them. Always have a girlfriend mentality.
Okay.
Okay, not to say you can't be a wife and get on their ass about trash not being pulled out and being being a gal and whatever. But always remember, there's got to be a night where I'm just the girlfriend.
I really like that.
And go out and now you don't have kids yet, so you can still do that. Because I remember before we had children, it was just all fun.
Yeah.
Even though you have children, always make the time to where just be boyfriend and girlfriend. If it's just once a week. And if you keep that going, man, because remember, we only got 42 seconds. If no one lives for each other, you're doomed. If one person lives for the other, but the other person doesn't live for the other, you got about a 50-50 chance. But if you both live for each other and would take a bullet for each other, come hell or high water,
Yeah.
and there's going to be some high water, believe me, you will make it to the later years where you're on cruise control.
You need to do like a Danny moment of truth every show where you put this wisdom out because it's fantastic. That's the best marriage advice I've heard.
Oh, really?
It is.
Okay, well, I wouldn't say that we're the perfect marriage, but at the same time, I know where I've made my mistakes, and that's by not continuing to date my girlfriend,
I love that.
which turned into my wife. We'll be back for segment 4 right after this.